All right, so the question was, can you show us how to set timing on a dirt bike? Quad, 4-stroke. Well, it's got to be 4 strokes. You can't set timing on a 2-stroke. Haha. But yeah, we're going to be doing single cam timing. So how to set single cam timing on pretty much anything. You bring the cylinder to top dead center. There's marks on the flywheel. You look through the inspection caps, bring it to top dead center. The cam you set lobes down. Then set your timing. It's pretty simple, not too hard. Let's get into it. These are your 2 inspection caps. The big one is where you spin the cylinder over with. The little one is what you look through to find your top dead center. You're gonna have an F and a T and a couple of lines. You look for the T. As for the top, motor's already been turned over a little bit, you can see. But this tab here, this screw, goes straight up and down, lobes down. Sometimes you can set it with the lobes up, but you don't really want to. You want the lobes. Now if you look, see how that's straight up and down? Want that straight up and down, lobes down. Now this is a 350 Warrior, same thing as a 350 Raptor. You've got the flywheel. It's good when you've got the cover off to mark it with a paint marker or something so you've got a quick reference of where your T is and where your F is. Right now, if it's rusty, you can't see it. But again, in there, you've got your cam. You put it in, bearing side out, lobes down. If you put it lobes up, you can set it that way, but you're going to have the valves on overlap and both of them are going to be open. Valves, yep, drop it. Lobes down, you're on compression stroke, and that's where you set your valve lash. Valve lash measures the gap between your valve stem, the little tip there, and your rockers. As you can see, these kind of wore on the cam a little bit. Those are what ride on the cam. These little buttons are what push on the valve. These are adjustable with this little nut. Little square screw, nut. That's where you adjust your valve lash. But yes, it should be looking like that. Up and down, easy peasy. You want to make sure your valves are not tight. There's a little bit of wiggle on the rocker arms. If there's no wiggle in the rocker arms, that means the valves are have pressure on them and they may leak. So, you don't want your valves to leak. Make sure you got a little wiggle in your rockers. I guess we'll get into twin cams too, because the twin cams are just almost opposite, but not too difficult to do. So here, we'll do the twin cams also out of the bike because I've got a head just sitting there. So remember, the rockers on the single cam are on top. On a twin cam, you're pushing on buckets. There's no rockers, so the buckets are what push on the valve. This here is a blown out KTM SX head. These have little rockers that are not buckets. And under them is the shim. So this is the shim that takes up the gap between this would be a bucket on a Yamaha or a Cowie. KTM uses little rockers, and yes, they fall out. But the rocker pushes on the button opens the valve, and on these, because everything is on the bottom, the lobes actually face up and off to the side. So you've got one cam, fits like that. One cam fits kind of like that. And they open off to the side. Now you're going to have to check your spec, but that's pretty much how they're going to look with no pressure on the rockers. Yamaha does 14 teeth between, or 14 pins between top to top on their chain. There's a 13 pin mod that gives it a little bit of extra oomph on the mid-range. So you can play back and forth a little bit with your teeth. Not a lot. Make sure you do your research before you start screwing around with tooth count and pin location and modifying your cam duration, location, start, finish. Because sometimes you can't do that. Yamaha had a little quirk in their first and second gens. I don't think the new FI systems do that anymore. But do your research. This is just a general. If it's a twin cam, lobes are up because the valves are down, everything's pushing down. If it's an overhead cam with the rockers on top, lobes down. Pretty simple. Keep it simple. Do your research. Double check things. Have a great day.